episode 7 of It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I'm Alexandra Wyman.
And I'm Anna Gazzetti, and we are the Russian Sisters. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode.
Yes, thank you.
We're pumped to be sitting around and drinking some wine and hanging out with you today.
Absolutely.
Do you know where it's 5 o'clock right now?
You're going to tell me.
I didn't look that up before this episode. So instead, we are going to toast the people in Buford, Wyoming.
I am really excited because it's one person. Not even people. It could have changed.
Well, yes. Because
it has changed.
I just looked up at Wikipedia.
Excellent.
So why don't you tell us what you know about Buford, Wyoming, and why we chose that today?
Yeah. Well, years ago, I had to drive through Wyoming. God help us all. Just kidding. Wyoming's great. It's just, it's a long drive.
It's where the deer and the antelope roam.
It's true. And then you have to be really careful about gassing up and where you are because there's not a whole lot.
No.
So there was a gas station in Buford, Wyoming when I went through there. Again, this was years ago. And at that point, the sign said population 2. And when we went in to talk to the guy who lived there, he told us it was actually population 1 because his son had moved to California. And there was a Japanese group of businessmen who decided they wanted to buy Buford. I don't know what they wanted to buy it for, but yes, that was population 1. So we would toast him. But now it looks like Anna's got some updated info.
Well, when Alexandra said Buford, Wyoming, I was like, I don't know if I've ever been through this place, but you guys, I just Wikipedia'd it. And for sure, they've got a picture of the town sign that says Buford, Pop 1, elevation 8,000. Okay, you guys.
It's just a gas station, and he lives on a little house attached.
Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. When did you drive through there? I have to ask you that.
Gosh. It was 2003.
Okay. So
that's right. What is that? 18 years ago?
There's been an update since then.
Oh, yeah.
So according to, all things Wikipedia,
of course,
which is truth.
Always.
Hashtag not always. I think students try to say it's truth, but it's not always. You have to
everyone
fact
now
check.
is they're going to start quoting TikTok. That's the new thing to reference. If you found it on TikTok, it must be for real.
Remind us, we've got to come back to that because we have heard stories about people who are getting professional degrees who will do their research and listen to 1-minute videos on TikTok and claim that to be the truth of all things. So let's come back to TikTok. But for now, let's talk about Buford. So this is what the Wikipedia says about Buford. Its last resident, who had been the lone resident for nearly 2 decades, left in 2012.
Oh, he left. Mr. Buford left.
So
it's still population 1?
It's 0. So it's located between Laramie and Cheyenne on Interstate 80. So if you're ever driving there,
mans the gas station?
Okay, so
they must come in from out of town.
Let me tell you this. I was looking down at the history, and it looks like the town was put up for auction on April 5th of 2012 with the highest bid of $900,000, and it was made. But sorry, they were Vietnamese, not Japanese, but they were Vietnamese.
In 2003, it was Japanese, but that's okay. I'm glad that it was Vietnamese in 2012.
Yes. So 2 Vietnamese men were looking at buying the town. And then there was this convenience store. This is true. Mm-hmm. And the people who owned the store never lived in the town and only visited it occasionally. And what does this say? The store has since been boarded up since 2017.
Well, if no one's there, if Mr. Buford left, I'm not even sure his name was Buford, but if he left, sad. Okay, well, we're cheersing to what used to be Buford.
We're cheersing Buford for sure.
Yeah, just the town.
Yeah, we're gonna the parcel of land that was known as Buford.
Of land.
Who knows what's going to become of it now? But if you're planning on driving through Wyoming on Interstate 80, there's no gas for you there.
No,
not in Buford anymore. No. so prep ahead, people.
Map it out. And who knows if you have internet service along that way. So you might need an old paper map.
I love paper maps, by the way.
AAA is still available to help with that.
I used to keep an atlas in my car forever.
Me too. Well, our father made us do that.
Well, yeah. Safety first. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm not even sure children learn how to read maps anymore.
Nor clocks.
That's true.
Clocks that are not digital.
Those would be analog.
The ones with the hands.
That's right. That is not taught as much anymore.
I was very dismayed when I learned that.
Me too.
Some people we know don't know how to read clocks, but that's okay. It's teachable.
It is teachable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, otherwise, like when you say I got your 6, how would people know what the heck you're talking about?
They don't. Or he's at your 11.
I know. Look, 1 o'clock. What does that mean? Well, these things are teachable.
They are.
Okay, so today we're toasting with a 2018 Cabernet Sauvignon. Remember, we've been on this Cabernet Sauvignon kick since we started. This one is called Predator, and I bought it not only because it's March Madness and we're like doing, fighting themes with athletics and everything else. But I bought this one specifically because it has a ladybug on the label.
It totally does.
It's super cute. And
although I have to say, I'm not sure I ever thought of ladybugs as predators, but
Exactly.
Apparently, I missed that one.
Exactly. I was like, oh, it's called Predator and has this like cute little unassuming ladybug on the label. It's super fun.
Trickery.
But I have to read you the back of this label here, guys, because we've talked about with Ricky, our producer and tech guy, about like doing pairings with the wine as we talk about what wine we're drinking, and then maybe pair with cheese and crackers because we like all things bread and cheese. Yeah. But no one wants to hear us munch on the podcast. I would, like through microphones amplified. That would just be awful.
It's really attractive.
Maybe we'll just do our episode and eat later. But I wanted to read the label for you. And so the back of the Predator Wines label says, what food best complements a fine Cabernet Sauvignon? Ladybugs prefer aphids and mites. That's why we encourage their dining on harmful insects in our vineyards. Natural predation is just one of many eco-friendly strategies we're committed to. And for you non-ladybugs, we recommend enjoying this lush and hearty wine with a juicy steak or tender prime rib.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now I'm hungry.
Is that the version? So prime rib and steak is like aphids and mites?
I suppose so. Like if you're a ladybug, that might be that's your prime rib.
Yeah.
A mite.
All right.
It's kind of gross.
It's delicious though. It's a good wine.
I know. Maybe we should have steak for dinner. All right, you guys. So March Madness continues, and our tip in our hats to coaches and athletes this month continues. Right. And we're so excited about our guest today. But first, we've got some birthday shout outs. There are a bunch of March birthdays too.
Oh, okay.
And so this week we've got happy birthday to Allison.
Happy birthday.
Zesty.
Happy birthday.
Caleb.
Woot.
Janice.
Ah.
Amber. Masha V. Kira and Denise. Happy birthday to you guys.
Happy birthday, everyone.
Yeah. I had to go back through the FB and look, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot coming up. So hang in there, guys.
Spring birthdays.
Cheers to you.
Yeah, cheers.
And Buford. Okay, so I have to tell you a little update about what I had going on this week.
Yep.
So first and foremost, the biggest event that I had going on this week, you guys, was taking my car into the shop for an oil change and to get my tires installed.
This is huge for Anna.
So,
huge.
And I'm going to really work on telling this story without crying because I did a lot of crying this week over it. So back in the summer, Sean T. Wyman was I was parked out front of his house, which is also your house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was putting something into my car, and he looked at my tires and he said, you need to get new tires. And I was like, huh? I do. And he's like, it's not immediate, but you're going to have to get new tires. They're almost bald. And I was like,
pretty good at knowing that.
He just glanced and he was like, oh God. And I'm like, no, man, I'm okay. I'm cool. Like, all right. Like, I'm thinking, do I have time for like tax money? Can I wait a little while? Can I, winter's coming.
Winter is coming.
So
winter is coming.
The people in the north are battling. So I was like, all right, buddy. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for putting that on my radar. I don't, look at that stuff very often, but it was really nice having a brother-in-law who was keeping an eye out for me. And so, then he passed away in August. And, when he did that, I did some post in his honor, and I was like, all right, buddy, I'll get my tires sometime soon. And then winter came. And then
how are those tires?
I still had not gotten new tires. And every time it snowed, which thankfully has not been that often. And when it has snowed, it hasn't been like ridiculously scary.
Right.
I was like, I can still drive in my car and I'm just going to run these puppies to the ground. Like we are going
and
like,
avoid the hills.
Which I have to go up a big hill.
I mean like the actual hills, not our family friends.
Not our family
hills.
friends, the hills. Yeah. No, those, things that you drive up or down.
Yeah.
Well, and I have a hill that I have to drive up.
You do.
There's no way to get to my work without driving up a big hill. And both of them are kind of scary. And so, of course, this is on my radar that I'm going to have to drive up this hill to get to work. And my tires are bald. So I was like, all right. And with every snowstorm, I've been like, okay, we're going to figure out a time to go get tires. Well, I finally did my taxes and got my return. I'm like, that's what we're going to do with some of the money from my tax return is we're finally going to get tires. Well, I also have to admit, you guys, that I have been delaying this whole process. It's been really hard for me because my brother-in-law was my car guy. And so every time I needed an oil change, he was the one I went to. And so I was really hesitant and I just like procrastinating and going to anybody else because not that I was like defiling his memory or anything like that.
You were cheating on him. Yeah.
I'm like,
okay.
But
you're not cheating on him.
To be honest with you, that was one of the things that I was not pleased with him about. Is that I was left with now no one, and I was like, I trusted him a lot, and that's hard to come by, right? When you find a person that you trust, and so I not only didn't want to feel like I was cheating on him, but I. With a car person, it was just a really hard transition for me to make. And so I was putting it off as long as possible. Well, we were supposed to get some new snow and I was like, that's it. I just have to go for it. And
you came out okay.
I did come out okay. So I know. Let me fast forward this story. No, I'm just going to fast forward this story real fast. So I ended up getting tires, went to this new place, very reputable. And our sister-in-law and brother have been going there for a while. So if you need a place in Lakewood, Colorado, HP Automotive, they're not paying us to say that. No. But they're really good guys. So HP Automotive in Lakewood. But they did a really great job.
Is a way to go, right? You want to hear someone else had a good experience before.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I just might have cried all the way home because, that was really hard. But they did a great job. And
it's when those experiences come up and you don't realize those feelings necessarily. Like you might have known, but not really how much, and then you have to face a certain scenario, and then you go, oh boy,
and I was like,
you get through it.
Just another step in the grief process. There it is. So that's my story about my tires.
I'm proud of you being able to do that.
Well, and they're fancy tires.
They are fancy.
I didn't know how fancy they were until the guys at the shop were like, those are nice tires. And I was like, well, thank you. I did some research.
It's all about the tires.
I had to do some research on my own. I think that was the other thing. I was like, who can help me? I did it. Yeah. I found them on my own and I bought them on my own. So anyway,
that's awesome.
That's my story.
I get that was a really hard thing for you to have to do. And yet you got to the other side, which is really awesome.
That's always my main goal. But I will tell you one thing that I did.
Yeah.
So, when you go to get an oil change or anything, they put the sticker up in your windshield, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a sticker up there from the last time that Sean T.W. did my last oil change. And I was like, gosh, for whatever reason, I feel like I need to hang on to that. It's like a little memento.
See, now I'm tearing
Memento.
Up. Yeah.
Oh gosh. So I took it off the windshield because when I went for my next oil change, I knew they usually throw that away. They're like, you don't need that thing. But I was like, nah, I just need to hang on to this thing for a little bit, just a piece of the last thing that I have in my car that he wrote on. And so whatever, silly as it may be, I took the little sticker and I put it to the right of me on my dash. And I just put it there. And I did tell the people, Mr. Don at HP Automotive, when he was like, is there anything I need to know when I dropped off my car? Is there anything else I need to know? And I was like, so I was like, I'm sure Jackie told you, but, my brother-in-law passed away and he was the last one to work on my car. And so I moved this sticker off the windshield and I put it on the dash. And if you guys could just leave it there, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and he's taking notes, you guys. This is why I think he's so awesome. If you ever need a car person, he wrote the notes down and he thought it was important enough to just make sure that I was taken care of and that the guys knew not to mess with this sticker from the last oil change that's on my dash now. instead of on the windshield. And so, of course, they put a new one on the windshield. But I was really touched that they honored that. And then, and like, you know, like I said, as silly as anyone might think it is to them, for me, this is like a piece that's just important. And I know eventually I'll be at a space where I won't need that. And
maybe frame it, you know? Why not?
I don't know.
You know, everyone has those little things that you just hold on to you know, like one day I found his sock in my sock drawer and I have no idea how I got one of his socks, his black socks, because he always wore his black ankle socks.
He sure did.
In my sock drawer. And I was like, well, that's just going to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know?
You're right. If I want to hang on to it, I'll hang on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I'm glad you got the tires. That was
Thank you. The moral of that story is I got my tires.
Just in time for some more snow.
Exactly. We're heading into like the snowiest season in Colorado. So I'm feeling a lot more confident. And it's funny how like new tires, like I felt like I was driving in a whole new car. I was like sitting a little taller in my seat and feeling a little taller in my car.
Like,
and
maybe I should go get this puppy washed now.
I know. Except if I do, it's going to snow or rain. So I won't do that.
No.
Anyway. That's my story.
Nice.
Yeah. I've got things I learned from Twitter, but I want to hear from you first.
Oh, well, I do have an update.
Ooh.
One update. Yeah. So we all heard the goose story, the Canada goose story.
Yes.
And this week, what I had crossed the road in front of me was a deer couple.
What?
And it was
Where were you?
I was on Kipling.
What?
And what was hilarious is that there was a sheriff's car. And he like went right up into the lane to make sure that they could cross. And
that's cool.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, where are they going to go? And then the buck just like jumped right over the rail and then the guardrail and then the doe went.
They're spry
I was
creatures.
like, oh, this is better.
It was a buck and a doe?
Yeah, it was a little deer couple. Yeah,
Oh.
it was really cute.
That's awesome.
So I saw that and it made me chuckle because I was like, animals just want to cross in front of me right now. That's hilarious.
I feel like you're attracting them.
Yeah. The other thing that happened this week, are you ready for this? I ended up having banana.
What?
I know. So I am highly allergic to bananas.
Right.
I have not always been highly allergic to bananas. I discovered this probably, what is it, like 10 years ago,
boy.
11 years ago. I ate some banana and had this slight anaphylaxis reaction. I was like, something, my tongue swelled up, and I was like,
that's exactly what happened.
Something's wrong. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it might be the banana.
I don't think I'm feeling okay.
I mean, I couldn't speak, and my boyfriend at the time was like, "What is happening? Your lips are getting bigger." I was like, "Oh boy!" So I kind of stayed away. I tried a couple more times to eat banana and had the same reaction, and I was like, "Oh!" And eventually, years later, I had some other health issues, and one of the things they started testing me for were other food allergies. And the allergist at the time was like, I have never seen someone score that high for a banana allergy. And so earlier this week, I had mixed some yogurt for Buddy the kid, and I put in like one of his little pouches, and it was getting to a point where I was going to have to throw it out. And I was like, oh, I'll just throw some blueberries in there and I'll just eat it. Like, that's fine. You know,
Sure.
It's baby yogurt, should be okay on the digestive system. And I took 2 bites. I mean, I mixed this like nice little, it was a small bowl, but it was a decent one. And I took a bite and I was like, oh, there.
Did you feel it?
No.
Oh,
No reaction.
okay. Was it real banana?
Well, they say these things are organic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Had like banana in the ingredients.
There was
Full on.
banana in there. So I ate
that's
it, and I
amazing.
was like, okay, if something happens, I'll take some Benadryl or,
Okay, well, this is kind of cool because when you went for that testing, it also said you shouldn't eat chicken.
Well, that was a test that came up around that same time. Yes.
Right. And then like you slowly introduced that back. And I'm wondering, over time, if banana is something you can introduce
They
back
say
in.
every 7 years. So maybe I just had 7 years
fascinating.
of a banana
Because
allergy.
I feel like there's nothing sadder than not being able to eat banana bread that our sister-in-law makes.
She makes fantastic banana bread.
She does.
But you know what's interesting? I don't really like the taste of banana right now because I haven't had it for so long.
So
I was
funny.
like, I'll just eat these blueberries.
You're like,
It
I'm
ended
over
up being
banana.
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
bet
funny.
because I love banana and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Bananas on Cheerios. Yeah. I don't even buy bananas because I don't want to, like, luckily Billy the kid gets bananas at his
Knock,
grandparents' house. I know, right? No, I'm not doing it.
No, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Banana, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Banana, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana? No, that's not the STW joke of the day. I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. So yeah, those are kind of my updates. Besides, I did, and the other thing that happened also was Sean and I used to have a joke about being the Ryman Wymans.
Yes. Oh,
and
yes.
And so I went go-karting for a friend's birthday, and apparently my call sign was still the same from the first time I went go-karting. And the woman walks in front of a group of people I did not know. Like, I knew two of the people who happened to be my friend and her significant other. No one else I knew. And in front of this, Ryman Weeman?
Ryman Weeman.
And I was like, what? Or Ryman Wyman. And she goes, oh, is that how you say it?
Because
like,
your last name looks nothing like Weeman.
Who would put Ryman Weeman? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. Mm-hmm. And so then I was like, oh, thanks. I'll just own that.
Alexandra texted me and she's like, so I'll have to tell you about how this was mispronounced. And I said, there's another way to say your last name. I just wasn't getting it, but apparently there is.
Apparently a Y also makes an E sound. I did not know that.
It does sometimes. Yeah, remember, like, English is hard.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Weeman.
Yeah. Anyway, those were kind of my updates.
It was a good week, I think, overall.
Yeah. And I do, after you do your Twitter updates and before we get to our awesome guest, I do think we should have some discussion over our puzzle piece.
Oh,
awareness.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me do the things I learned from Twitter, which I am naming because of Twitter. I know.
I like that. :
First and foremost,
grammarian.
All of California's amusement parks, Disney, Universal, some of the other ones that were listed. Yes. Along with sports and concert venues will be allowed to reopen with limited capacity starting April 1st. And as far as I know,
that's not an April Fool's joke.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, as far as I know, this isn't an April Fool's joke. But yeah, the people who responded were kind of all over the place, from awesome, places I will avoid forever and ever, good luck California tourism, to yay, can't wait. So I know people are excited about things opening back up, but y'all just do it like with caution, like the same thing. Even though I'm vaccinated, I'm still distancing mostly.
Well, Texas
and wearing
up,
a mask.
That makes me a little nervous. But
Texas, kind of, sort of, in some places, we will be masking when we go there for sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, take the precautions that you need to. And if you're not ready, like I'm certainly not ready to go to restaurants and have everyone there and no restrictions at all. I'm personally not ready for that. Right. But if you are, I mean, just embrace it for where you are in this process, because I think that there's, I think there's just a lot of stress that has come with this, and you have to work through the fears that came with it and all sorts of stuff.
I mean, after all, you guys, like, right? COVID's no joke. There have been a lot of serious ramifications from this pandemic. So let's just keep that in mind.
It's been a year.
No, I can't believe it's been a year.
A year of this. This is so weird.
I know, it is weird.
Yeah.
In fact, I was thinking, like, where were you a year ago? So about a year ago, I remember being on a bus at the school where I was working. We took a bunch of kids to CU Boulder for a trip, and it was super fun. We were not masking then because you didn't need to.
Right. I
remember like we went to the school, did this whole tour, ate at the cafeteria, got our kids back on the bus. And it was on the way back from the bus that, like, there was some news story that came out that someone at the school where I was just visiting, the university, someone had just tested positive in one of the food service industries at places at the university. And I was like, oh my God, I just like took these kids, and it was still scary early on. We didn't know much about anything at all. And so that was just kind of weird. And then a week later, right? Because everything
shut down. Yeah.
It was about a week later.
I've said this before, but we almost got stuck in, I guess Sean and I and Eli almost got stuck in Hawaii. You and our friend Laura were able to get home, but we almost got stuck in Hawaii. And luckily,
worse things could happen.
It was because we were flying on the leap year day. And so.
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that trip when I said I was going to stay till February 31st?
You were. Yeah. And they couldn't find like all of our flights were canceled for February 29th because the system didn't recognize it. But anyway, yeah. And had we been stuck there even just for a couple of days, because Hawaii shut down and then there was a whole quarantine and there's craziness. But yeah, a year.
Wow.
But
we'll have to come back to that topic too. Can you write that down?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, she's writing that down. While she's writing that down, I'll tell you. Because of Twitter, I also know that apparently there was a Colorado man found guilty of poaching in our state.
Does that really still happen?
Okay, so here's what happened. You have to have a license.
Come on.
You have to have a license to hunt. And when you get your license, it's very specific about
when, where,
what animal, what kind of weapon you're going to use. Weapon?
Yeah.
Yes. So are you bow hunting or are you...
And then there's points though. Like there's only a certain size you can do.
And so we're very specific for a reason. And this guy just totally went and did his own thing anyway and ignored all the laws that we have.
Is he from here?
I don't know exactly. He was younger. I don't know. Yeah. But he was found guilty of having poached, and it's poaching, right?
Yeah,
you
it's
didn't have your tag.
Poaching. Yeah.
15 animals.
15?
15.
Not just one.
No. It wasn't like I just went to this one county.
15.
It was multiple counties that he went into. And he killed a bunch of deer and turkeys. And then he was even found with a bighorn sheep, which made me very sad.
What? For what? Your living room?
I don't know.
Sorry. That's exactly. That brings out the Aries.
Remember the lover of animals sitting across from me here.
Oh my goodness.
So what I found interesting though is because Colorado is a member of the Interstate Wildlife Violator Compact, his lifetime hunting ban. So because he was found guilty.
Good.
Apparently he can contest it, but he has this current lifetime hunting ban. It extends not just to Colorado, but 47 other states.
That is amazing.
So 48 states, he's not allowed to hunt. I mean, he'll probably find a way to ignore the law anyway.
Federally, like if he goes and poaches again, if he goes to another state and poaches,
I don't know.
Like, is there prison that comes with that?
I have no idea.
That's a weird sentence. What did you do? I killed a bunch of animals.
Unlawfully, you did.
Unlawfully.
Like you robbed our ecosystem. Come on.
Wow.
Interestingly, do you have any guesses of what 2 states are not included?
Alaska and Texas.
No. Interesting that you would say that. No.
Okay,
this
hold
is
on.
so random.
Okay. Delaware.
Guess again.
Delaware and New Mexico.
All right. We could probably spend all day going through
25 tries.
That's nope. Guess again. Nope. Guess again. No, the 2 states that are not included in the Interstate Wildlife Violator Compact are Hawaii and Massachusetts.
So I almost said Hawaii. That's interesting.
Well, you would have been correct if you guessed it.
And Massachusetts.
I wonder
why.
I don't know. But because of Twitter, I learned this.
Because I'm thinking if you go to Hawaii, like there are some, and don't get me on the wildlife thing, but there are some countries where it's illegal to go after lionfish. But they are, and then there are some where it's okay to go after lionfish because they're actually they're not part of the natural habitat there. And so they end up like that. I mean, I will say I've had lionfish tacos and they were delicious because in that particular area of the world,
it was allowed.
They're not indigenous to that area and they were brought by someone and then they started killing everything in the area. So spearfishing lionfish was big. I know that's a total tangent, but I'm curious if there's something like that in Hawaii where they're like, go ahead and kill these fish. But yeah, no,
I would imagine it would not be okay. Well, I don't know. The huma huma nuku nuku apua.
And stay away from the sea turtles, people.
And nenes.
And the nenes.
It's their state bird.
That is.
And the huma huma nuku nuku apua.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Also happened this week, JJ Watt.
What about him?
Joining the Arizona Cardinals.
No kidding.
Okay, listen to this.
I was never a Texans fan, but...
Me neither.
But I'm a fan of JJ Watt because he's pretty legit.
But this was like huge news this week. Also because...
Cardinals of all places.
Right? I don't know.
Right.
2-year, $31 million deal.
Does he know that we're both single? Just kidding. Just kidding.
He's guaranteed...
That's insane.
$23 million. Yeah. As I was typing this
he's a beast. He is a beast of a player.
Of course he's a beast of a player.
He does so many cool things.
Well earned. I'm not saying athletes shouldn't earn their keep. And
no, he does a lot of outreach.
Imagine having $31 million in 2 years.
can I imagine 1 million in 2 years? No.
Let's just take a moment and think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't even know. It's hard for me to imagine. What do you do?
I don't know. Invest, buy property, go places.
If you're Tom Brady, you go on your boat and get
Would I
drunk in front of
still
your kids and then
shop
have to be
at
escorted
Schmall
off.
Schmart?
Maybe.
Would I still get my cat litter there? I don't know.
That one I'm going to say no. You'll just have it
probably
flown in.
upgrade.
You'd have
You're
your
right.
cat litter flown in.
Yeah, it'd be like very special cat litter.
No.
Organic.
I don't even know.
All right.
Well, good for him. I'm curious to see how he does with the Cardinals.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. I am looking forward to next year's football season. I hope things get a little bit back to normal.
I'm not sure that I'm there yet, but we'll see. I've got some months to figure out how I feel. That was something that Sean and I did. So it was, it's kind of hard for me to get into it right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's still raw. And it's early yet, so we don't have to cross that bridge yet.
Well, the Broncos haven't been awesome.
Well,
so.
That's a whole other Oprah.
Yeah, minor detail.
Okay, lastly, what I learned, and because of Twitter, I know that the Senate passed their version of the stimulus bill.
I did see that.
And now it goes back to the House.
Correct.
And then to the White House for signing, should everything be copacetic.
Right. I love
you like that word?
I know. I love that you threw in copacetic.
What do you think? Copacetic? It is a good word.
It is a good word.
Isn't it? I did. But not because you're bored. Not because you're bored.
No, in fact, quite the opposite, because what a good word.
Copacetic.
Rickerford's going to need copacetic for the SATs.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have that for the SATs.
Do you still have to take the SATs this year?
I do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Remember, he did the PSAT.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next month, you said?
Yep.
And
oh,
you're
that's
prepping?
exciting.
April 13th.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Is that a Friday?
I think it's a Saturday.
Oh.
That's bad. Yeah, they don't do standardized testing like that on Fridays.
Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
That would be awful.
I actually
You're right. I don't
total
think they do
tangent.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Never mind. The 13th is a Tuesday. Total tangent though. I have a colleague and she had a son, which is funny. She named him Elliot. And because Elliot was a name that Sean and I had talked about. And so she had a very similar birthing situation as I did, where she had to get induced. But she had her son on Friday the 13th because her husband was born on Friday the 13th. And she's like, I planned it. I was like, that is hilarious.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was kind of cute.
What a nod.
I
All right.
digress. Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
Nothing else about Twitter.
Oh,
but
okay.
March Madness.
Yes.
We were talking about like things that our coaches have said to us that were awesome and lifted us
True.
up. And Dre talked about this last week
those are hard
on
to
our
come by.
episode, and he was like, right, like the coaching from when we were kids is different,
Very
and you
different.
can't like it's not okay anymore to just ruin kids and their berate. Yeah, like
That is
you
not
can't
okay.
kick them. You can't kick them and push them around. I never understood that anyway. Like why you just want to beat them to the ground.
This was not the story I was going to share, but I actually had an assistant coach who didn't like me because he wanted his daughter to be the star, which is fine, whatever. And he actually chucked a soccer ball at me.
On purpose, like
on purpose.
Yeah, that's different from like trying to get a soccer ball off the field and kicking a 4-year-old in her shoes off. That's very different. Can we just differentiate between the two?
You have to call me out.
Yeah.
It wasn't out of anger.
No.
It was out of like, hey guys, like take the ball off the field.
Totally. That's what I say. Very
this
different.
Coach was very, he was very frustrated with me. I don't even remember why. Maybe I did something. I don't know. I don't think that warrants getting, but he was like, here you go. And like literally chucked a soccer ball at me.
Yeah.
And I had to deflect it.
That's right. And I'm sure there's some coaches that might still engage in that kind of awful behavior, but it definitely doesn't endear someone to a sport and make them want to keep coming back and work for you. So,
well, that is my other coaching story, but I want you to share yours.
I really don't have, I think I was like, what are some things that I remember from when I played soccer in high school? And I think one of the things that I remember hearing a lot was, Anna, run. So like, Anna, take a lap. I feel like I had to
Just
take a lap.
getting you ready for track. Take another lap.
Which is funny because I remember when I became a coach, I was like, you're tardy. Take a lap.
Yep.
Oh, now you've done this a couple times. Now your whole team gets to take a lap.
I hated
take a lap.
Take
a lap.
That's the coach that I became.
Take a lap.
Conditioning coach.
Take a lap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hated conditioning. And I was like, oh, let's go do some diamonds. Mm-hmm. But I was actually in better shape then and would do it with them. I always had coaches who wouldn't, like they were always like, you know, the power trip kind of thing.
Right.
But I will share. So, right. This is working with children in general. Have to be very careful about what you say because you never know how you're going to impact. I remember things clearly from elementary and middle school that teachers said, and they probably said it off the cuff, but they have no idea that it has impacted me for the duration of my life. Here. And so that's something even now I feel like I have to be very careful about in what I say. And I work with littles, like kindergarten and first graders, but I did have a coach. I was going into my senior year. It was my senior year of high school. And the thing with, I'll just say it was Boulder. I was in Boulder, Colorado at the time. And the thing with what was happening in Boulder is that your rec teams and your high school teams, the coaches talk to each other. And so we moved here when I was 13, and it was really hard for me to break into soccer here in general, and especially in the rec teams because they are groomed from 6, 7, 8 years old.
Very different from where we came from.
Very different
from whence we came.
I came from like a really solid program to like I was an outsider. I was from Connecticut. Like, who is a stranger? Who do I think I was, like, coming in? And these teams really are groomed from 6, 7, 8 years old. And the same people, the same girls play together that whole time. And then high school teams pick them up and they want to keep that same, I guess, cohort or whatever together. Yeah. And so obviously I was kind of the outlier and I didn't have that. Like I jumped around because I was placed on one team and then moved to a couple different other teams until they had space. Because basically they're like, oh, you've got the skill for this team, but we don't have the space for you. And so I just kind of was trying to keep maintenance until I could get onto a team. Until
she went to Bath, England and played football there.
No. Oh my God. You keep bringing it. It is not as glorious as you make it sound. So here's why.
Just run with it. I'll run. Take a lap.
Yeah, take a lap. Let me undo some diamonds. It'll make me feel better. But I had this coach, it was my high school coach, and he basically came to me, and there was a whole junior cohort that recreationally had been playing since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. And because I wasn't part of that, he came to me and he was like, I just want you to know you're a bubble player.
Oh.
And he's like, you can try out this year, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to make it. And
he hadn't seen your skill yet, just because you were an outsider.
No, he had seen me play before, like on JV and on the like he had been my freshman coach, and then he became the varsity coach. And so he basically was like, you're a bubble player, and he was like, I don't know that you're gonna make it, and if you make it, I'm not sure that I'm gonna have any time for you to play. And so on the one hand, I can be like, okay, we've got some honesty,
right?
On the other hand, I was like, wow. And so it turned out that there were, I want to say, only 2 or 3 other seniors that made the team that year. And so, right, like what's classic in the last home game of the season, you play your seniors. It's
right. It's a senior game.
Yeah. They started for maybe 2 minutes.
Oh, no.
And were benched the rest of the game.
No way.
Yeah. And so I was that's right. No way.
No
Buddy
way.
the kid making a little cameo. But that was...
No way.
It's mom's turn. Yeah. Yep. Nana has taught you. No way. Okay. So yeah. So it was really sad to see that they, like, even the people that were on there were not permitted. They didn't get to play because he wanted this. It was about winning, right? Like Andre talked about.
Just like Andre talked about.
The winning versus.
The W is more important than the experience.
And that's how it was for this. It was all about winning.
Shameful. I mean, we get it, right? We get the competitiveness. We're competitive.
Oh, totally.
But I'll tell you, in the long run, I would say there are worse things that people have. I don't know if there are worse things that people have learned from that kind of coaching experience where the W is everything.
For me, like, as I'm trying to just become a better person and really like clear out space for that. Yeah, this is what comes up.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think one of our messages to anyone looking at becoming a coach in the future, if that's your bag, if that's your jam,
just
and the thing,
be careful about what you say.
It's super fun. And that made me think of this quote that one of my administrators at a former school passed out to every single educator. And so I'm going to read it here. Quote, let me start over. Quote, I've come to a frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in the classroom. And you can substitute classroom here for field or anything, right?
Office.
Back to the quote. It's my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess a tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated and a child humanized or dehumanized. End quote.
I feel like I've seen that before, and it's a phenomenal quote.
I love this quote. And like you said, applicable to everywhere.
All the time.
Right? Our words matter. Our tone matters. Our attitude matters as a coach on and off the field.
Well, shall we get into our guest speaker for today?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have with us our second guest of our show ever, Gabe Trujillo, who is longtime great friend and mentor.
Thank you.
So Gabe, thanks for being with us today on our show.
Thanks for having me, ladies. I appreciate it. I appreciate you thinking of me.
Awesome.
Cool.
Always. Yeah. So this month of March, we're celebrating, we're kicking off March Madness, and we were doing this theme around coaches and educators. And so we thought of some of our favorite coach educator friends to connect with for our show. And you, of course, popped to the top of the list for us. So again, we're just honored to have you here. So first question for you is, who are you? What do you do? And how'd you get into that?
Absolutely. My name's Gabe Trujillo, like Miss Anna and Al said. I am a longtime coach, teacher. I'm a district AD. I like to call myself a dumb jock by trade. And I've been coaching in the community now. It's got to be since I was 15. So, you do the math, probably just over 30 years. 31 years. I started by my mentor, who got me started working at the rec center, and just kind of made it my life to work with kids.
That's awesome. So what are you doing currently as a coach?
I am the current district athletic director at Westminster Public Schools. And on my side job is I'm an executive director for the Colorado Hoopsters, which is a traveling basketball club in the Denver metro area. And if you see Miss Anna's shirt, you'll see her representing us.
That's right. Got to rep the team today. We also like, as we mentioned in the last show, we like swag. So when coaches,
anytime.
ADs want free advertising, we welcome.
Yeah.
We welcome it. I also like hats. Cool. So Gabe, who would you say is your inspiration as for your coaching career or your education career? Who are you most inspired by?
I have two people. I was raised by my grandmother, and my grandmother was a 40-year educator in DPS. And then her name is Rose Trujillo. And then my mentor, who really helped me get started, and he is the founder of the Colorado Hoopsters. His name is Gary Rhodes. So I had the best of both worlds. I had a teacher at home who poured into my life and made me academically take care of business and really focus on my academics. And then I'd go to the rec center after school as a kid and just enjoyed being around Gary. And so part of what I feel like the reason why I give back is I'm kind of fulfilling their legacy too. I'm an extension of both their legacies. So it's important to me to work with the kids I do and why I actually serve as the executive director of the Hoopsters.
I love that.
I like that. Extending the legacy. I like that idea a lot.
Giving back. We love that. Paying forward, giving back. What would you say are some of your proudest coaching moments? I know it's hard to pick.
Well, I think just, I go, it's easy to, when, as you were asking, it's easy just for memories to flash in front of your eyes and the winning, and, hoisting the trophies and cutting down the nets and doing all that cool stuff. But I think for me, the beauty is the everyday struggle when you're in the gym working with the kid individually, helping them achieve their goals, helping them overcome struggles. So I would say, if you ask me, it's just going to the gym every day to be present.
Be with the kids. I love that.
Awesome.
How about, have you had any of those like did that just happen moment, like flubs or I don't know.
Remember, well, I don't even remember if you're at the game, but when I kicked the soccer ball and took off that 4-year-old's shoes because I nailed her so hard, where everyone was like,
You're like,
it's like, did that just happen?
any kind of like big oops moments, or like, if I had that to do, I'd probably do that differently the next time moments.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It probably wasn't my most proud moment, but it was kind of a funny moment. We were kind of like Al, we were in practice, and I was at Denver North, and I had asked the cheerleaders to step out of the gym because, you know, they were there checking out the boys, and my boys were distracted and checking them out. And here we're trying to get ready for a state game. And one of the cheerleaders said something mouthy to me. So I didn't say anything. I just kicked the basketball really hard. And I didn't realize how far I kicked. And it was like going right for and if I could just turn back time to run and catch, it was like, no. Luckily, at the right inches from the girl's head, she just turned the corner, and it hit the divider really loud and made a loud noise and scared everybody.
Oh man!
And just it kind of saved me, I guess.
Yeah. Did you say some prayers?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
That could have been really bad.
But there's a lot of flubs in the game. When you build those individual relationships with kids, I could think of 10 kids where we just look at each other and start laughing because, you know, the inside joke or, you know, something happened on the sideline or in practice. And it's just a fun.
You have to have those moments to kind of build on to make it better, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's what really makes that's what make this job come to life, is those moments, because they make you laugh, and some can make you cry, right? I've had those moments where it's almost like when you ask that question, what just happened? And there's several ways you can ask that, like what just happened funny or what just happened traumatic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to bury some kids over the past few years, and it's kind of like, damn, he was so young, what happened, you know? Yeah. And then you think back to those, and it's like, man, it puts everything in perspective about how sports really do impact life and the relationships and how important they are. So I don't take it for granted, to be honest.
I think all the moments are make coaching worth it, right? So
sure.
All the ups and all the downs make every bit of it worth it. Final thoughts. Do you have any messaging that you would want to share with budding athletes or coaching prospects? Anyone who's like looking to get into coaching, what would you like? What kind of messaging would you have for them?
For the athletes, I would, and I think that's, I would say send 3 messages out. One to the athlete that, follow your dreams and your passion, and don't let anybody tell you what you can or can't be, no matter how good you may be at an activity or a skill. Just get involved. And if you love doing it, do it. Your passion will take you a long way. It's amazing what happens when passion and opportunity meet. There's a perfect intersection, and I like to call that destiny. And so if you allow yourself to walk in your passion, then good things happen. For parents, it's important to know that, it's hard for me as a dad and as a dumb jock by trade, not to make my kids live my passion. And so I'm not trying to live my passion through them. I have to remind myself to be supportive of them, and it's their passion. And win, lose, or draw, that I'm there to be their support. So it's really hard for me. Trust me, parents, I'm working on that. It's always a work in progress. And then for the coach, I would just say you have a valuable opportunity to change lives. And so any moment you get, treasure it. Whether you're a volunteer coach or a paid coach or a professional coach, play the part. And, if that means you got to go to YouTube to learn, then do it. If you got to take classes, if you got to be a student of the game, because kids depend on you. You are that role model. You are that figure. If it weren't for coaches, for me, throughout the way, I definitely wouldn't be sitting here. Yesterday, I ran into one of my coaches, Coach Anthony, at the gas station. And it was just kind of a random thing. And I was with my daughter, and he hugged me and said, hey, said some nice things. I appreciate having him. I appreciated having Coach Anthony in my life. And then his brother was one of my coaches, and I was sharing that with my daughter. It was just a pretty cool 2-minute moment with my baby we went down memory lane. And sometimes we don't get a chance to do that and reflect back. But as a coach, it is pretty important that you're just there every day, embracing the grind.
I love it, Gabe.
Yeah.
And with that, once again, we're so honored that you could join us. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for your words. Thanks for being such an inspiration to both of us, and for all the youth whose paths you've crossed. I know you just keep doing amazing things day after day. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And don't forget to check us out on our Hoopster Live website. And as we start playing, link us up. And for any little girl who wants to watch good girls basketball or come and learn, don't be afraid to come out, come join us. We'd love to have you.
It's an amazing
That's awesome.
program. And you know what? We might have to have Gabe back to talk about that a little bit more.
I agree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, take care. We'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
All right,
Talk to you
thanks,
soon.
Gabe.
Thank you.
Awesome. I love that we got to share that time with Gabe.
Yes, that was amazing.
He's
Thank
phenomenal.
you so much.
Yeah. Just
Such
a great
an expander, such an amazing person.
mentor. All right. So we have come to that time in the show where we do our STW joke of the day.
Absolutely.
All right. Sean T. Wyman. Question. What does the dad do to deal with his kleptomania?
I don't know. What does the dad do?
He takes something for it.
Of course he does.
Yes, he does.
Oh, I feel like if I was a kid and I had sticky fingers, I feel like I'd be like, but I'm taking something for it. That'd be hilarious. Okay, today's affirmator is courage.
Ooh.
No one is fearless. No one. But even though I'm not fearless, I am courageous. When fear shows up, I don't run away from it. I use my courage to conquer it. My courage allows me to walk right up to that fear and kick it in the nuts, then quickly hide behind someone bigger until it goes away. True story. I do this on the daily.
Kick people in the nuts?
No, I hide behind other people. I'm like, hey, you take that. Okay, I'll be right over here, and I'll see you soon. Yeah.
Courage, people. Embrace your courage. Thank you so much for listening to us today.
Yes, 5-star reviews. Find us anywhere.
We have enjoyed our time with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Comment if there are topics you'd like us to address. And you can find us or email us if you want something private and individual, the RussianSisters@gmail.com.
That's right. And I realized we totally forgot our puzzle discussion, so we're going to move that to
stay
another
tuned
day.
for that. Yeah.
It's coming.
And refer your friends.
Yes,
if there are people
absolutely.
who would like us or need to hear what we have to say,
Yeah.
pass us on. We love you guys. Hope you have a great week. It's been fun to spend the time with you.
Yes, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.